As I shown, these face controls can be created with this in this way, like just creating some points and calling the function. There is another way that you can create controls. You could just draw curves and create your own controls and then import the interface. I'm going to do that now. Let's start to go to a viewport. Let's go to a front view or something like that, like this one. And let's start by creating some controls. For example, I'm going to create a square. I'm going to create it with a curve, but this curve needs to be so it's not like soft. I need to create it of a different degree. So I'm going to go to create curve tools, EP curve tool, but in the tool settings I'm going to create a linear curve. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, click. Okay, now let's move this to 0. Just so I understand a little bit better how this is working, I'm gonna get closer here. I have pretty much the size that I want. I'm moving the vertices just so the pivot point remains here. And I'm going to start maybe I want a square of 1. Let me see what size is 1. So let's start by creating maybe a box. And okay, this is a square of 1, right? So what I want is this to be able to move 1 in X, 1 in Y, and 1 in Z. So it needs to be this size, right? And I'm going to create now a circle inside. This circle, it's exactly like any circle, but I'm going to change the properties in the channel box. I'm going to modify the magnum circle, so the normal it's in Z, so in Y I need 0, so it's like this, and the radius needs to be way smaller, so I'm going to put 0.05, no, 0.1. Let's check it out. Let me delete the box that's hiding my circle. Yeah, 0.1, it's okay. And as you can see, these can move up, down, left, right. So I'm going to use these movements to map the plane shape position. I intentionally created this cube of 1. So when I move this one from here to here, it's 1. I could make it 10. If I want to make it 10, I will just need to move this and make this a little bit bigger. So right now it's 1, but I could make it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 units. Let me try to do it 10 units. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's go in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Usually the controls can be 0 to 1. Animators usually would prefer 0 to 10 because it's a bigger range, right? So now I can create this, and maybe I will need to make the NURB circle a little bit bigger, maybe of the size of 1. And now I have here this vertex that it's in the 10 position, in X is in 9, so I need 1 more. Okay, 10, 10. Also in this axis is 9 only, so let's put it in 10. Okay, so now it's 10, 10, 10, 10, everything. And I can parent this one to the circle. I'm going to parent it. And I could, for example, here, this is like my base for any control, right? I could select this circle and modify what it's called. I'm going to modify the limits. So in the NURB circle shape, right now I can move it whatever I want, right? But I could go here and modify the object display, component display, maybe the NURB circle in the transform. I'm going to change the limit information. So I'm going to turn on the translation limit to X, X, Y, Y. I'm going to put it here. This one, the minimum, it's going to be -10, maximum 10, minimum -10, maximum 10. And doing it that way, I cannot get out of the square. Right now this is limited and I cannot get out of the square, which is usually what I would like in one of those controls that goes from 0 to 10. It can only move 0 to 10 in XY, but it's not going to be able to get out of here. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to save these. Well, maybe I need to rename them, so let's get these my renaming tool. So let's get the renaming tool and let's name these base square, and let's check the name of this one, and let's make this one a control. I think I can select here control. I don't know if I can control here. This is a control, and I'm going to put it as maybe this is going to be the brow. So let's change names. Left brow. So this is my left base square brow control. No, this is the main brow control. This is going to be my left main brow control, and this is going to be my square brow. This is not a control. I'm going to leave it in auto. So it's going to choose the name, and it's going to be shape because it's just a shape. And there you go. I have now this one named control, and I have this one named base. What it's important to understand is that now I can take this one, and of course maybe it doesn't match the character, maybe it's too big to be the face. Well, actually the size is pretty much, it's good, but I could make it smaller, and if I scale this one down, notice I'm going to scale it 0.5 and put it here. This control still can move here, and the values go from 0 to 10. Even though it's smaller, it goes from 0 to 10. And the reason is because it's scaling the space of the child, and the child is the control, and this is the parent, and it's scaling the size. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to create another control. I'm going to create this other one, and I'm going to name this one right. So I'm just going to change the name here to right, and why not, maybe the base square also should be right base square, base not reference, maybe should be from the brow. Brow, I'm using capital, and maybe I shouldn't. Usually I use camel case, so the first letter is not capital, and then from then on every start of a letter of a word is capital. And let's write here brow. Okay, and this is the left base square. Okay, anyway, I just named these ones, and I'm going to create one parent for all of those. So I'm gonna go here, and in my front view, which I think it's this one, I'm going to create one main control. In this case, it's going to be what is it going to be? It's going to be just a square. I cannot click this square because this square creates one nerve square with multiple shapes, which I don't like. I prefer just to draw a square with the tool, right? And let me show, isolate, select, add select objects, and remember that this tool needs to be in, as I told you, needs to be in creating a linear rectangle, so they when it's created, it's not when it's created, I'm sorry, it's not soft, a soft curve. It's just lines. So remember that I modify my tool to create it, right? In the in create, NURBS curve tools, epicurve tool, and I change the tool settings to be linear. Okay. Anyway, oh, I created one more, and now I'm going to parent these two here, and I'm going to name this curve main facial square, or main facial. This is going to be square facial. It's from the facial system. It's the center, so it's going to be my main rectangle, and I'm going to just leave it there. So this is going to turn into my facial control. Maybe I should center the pivot. This one is not scaled, so it's okay. Let me center the pivot, modify, center pivot. I have it there. This is the 0 position, which is correct, and I'm going to leave it there. And I need to save this, so it's imported, and I'm going to name it facial controls. Once again, I just go to my rig tools, to my builder. I'm sorry, I have here my builder open in Raul. I'm going to save the data, and the data that I'm going to call this, it's going to be maybe inside a group. Why not? And let's name this group facial controls. Okay, so I'm going to name this also facial controls. Let me check here. Controls, I'm going to use this name, facial controls. Usually I try to use the same name that has the object, so it's easy to remember what's the name that I used to save it, right? Because I could write here whatever, but if it matches, it's going to be easier if I want to save it again to remember exactly what I wrote. Anyway, so I have it here, and these two squares, I don't want to select them. They're just for display purposes, so they're just a guide. So in the attribute editor, you can go and select the transform. Let's go and look for the transform, and in the transform you can go to display, drawing overrides, and in enable overrides you could change, for example, you could change the color if you want to change the color index. But what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to change it to reference, so it's not selectable. And doing it that way, I cannot select it, you see. But I cannot select the children also, so I don't want to do that. I can select it now only through the outliner, so I'm going to select it. I'm going to turn this off, and the reason why I don't want to do that is because I still want to select this one. So what am I going to do is I'm not going to do it in the transform. I'm going to do it in the shape. So selecting the rectangle, I'm going to go to the shape, and here I can go to the object display, drawing overrides, enable overrides, and I'm going to set it to reference. And as a reference, I cannot select the square. I can select this one if in case I want to move the controls, and this is the control that it's just moving in this range, right? I'm going to do the same with this one. Remember, you go to the shape, enable overrides, reference, and now I cannot select it, but I still can select the circle inside. That's the children, right? And the main square, that it's the one that helps me move out my whole interface. So as you can see, the plane shapes are just an option to do it, and there are many interfaces to trigger them. It can be these controls, or it can be these kinds of controls. I'm going to do with these ones the eye close and the eye open, and I'm going to do with this way the brows. You will see how the brows are going to be, and you could add other kind of stuff here, like for example for the jaw or whatever, no? So you could add the jaw here, or you can create a jaw here. We'll figure it out as we go advancing about that. Right now I'm just going to focus on the brows. So once I finish this, you need to select it and just save it as facial controls, save reference file. Okay, now I can check it out, and I know that I can create a new file, new scene, don't save, and I can import the build steps file, new scene, don't save, and reload Raul, click. Okay, there we go. I have here Raul, and as you can see, I have everything here. I think I made a mistake here that these bees created. I don't really need to save this rig. I don't know what's bringing in this rig. Maybe the reference points, but I don't know which file is bringing all this system. This one shouldn't exist. We just need the face reference points, the plane shapes, the face reference points, which are just the 2 points for the eyes. The facial controls, we can import these ones, and the reference points These ones are for the body, right? So those are the things. I don't know where this one is coming. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's in the geo. I think it's going to be in the face reference points or something. So let's try to delete it and try to bring in maybe just the face reference points. Let's select the name, and as I told you, I'm going to use this name, say face reference points, save reference points. Okay, so I'm saving the face reference points. Let's try again to see if we still get that. Build steps, file new scene, click, 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 Raul, import, there we go. Okay, they're still, no, they're not there anymore. Oh, the rig is there. Let's try again. Maybe it's in the reference points. Let's try to save the reference points, just reference points, save reference points, okay. And let's try again, file new scene, don't save, build steps. It's Raul, import geometry. Import geometry doesn't have that. Import guides, no. Import reference points. It's importing the rig. I already tried these. I think they are going to be the blend shapes. And the reason is because when I selected the blend shapes and I saved them, I didn't realize that they have a blend shape applied that it's in the linked to the control. So let's delete this. Let's see. Blend shape, outputs blend shape. There's still a blend shape node applied to the eyes, maybe base geos eyes. Yes, it's here. Let me delete it. We don't need it here applied or anything. We need clean geo. It is clean geo. Okay, there you go. So everything is clean. It looks like it's clean. I don't have it. I think it was in the blend shapes. So let's save again the blend shapes. Blend shapes. Save reference file, override yes, and let's try again. Let's try to create a new scene. Don't save, go back, reload, click here, and I don't have the rig anymore. So I have all my files that I'm importing, the reference file, the reference points, my facial controls, my face reference points, my blend shapes, and my geo. And I think it's ready to link to the interface. I'm going to create a link now with some scripting. I hope this was clear, and let's continue.